All right, Donald J. Trump was on Fox News with Hannity. Wait till you hear what this man had to say. Brace yourself. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Let's get into the heart of this video.
Donald J. Trump, we're outside of beautiful Des Moines, Iowa for the hour. We will be taking questions from the audience. And tonight, as the 2024 race heats up, President Trump and other Republican candidates are now crisscrossing the state. And of course, the former president has a commanding lead in both Iowa and nationally. The GOP field, though, is growing. Last week, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis threw his hat in the ring, and soon...
Oh, wow. Larry Elder is running? Oh, man. I didn't know that. I love me some Larry Elder. I love me some Larry Elder. Mike Pence is going to run too. Tim Scott. Asa Hutchinson. I don't know who he is. Vivek Ramaswamy. Nikki Haley. Ron DeSantis. Donald J. Trump. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm voting for. Let's keep going.
We expect that former Vice President Mike Pence will be in. Anti-Trump zealot Chris Christie will join in. But
Chris Christie, like, what the, like, all right. I mean, who cares about Chris Christie anymore? Like, all right, nobody cares. Like, when was the last time any person online, you know, or any YouTuber made a video about Chris Christie? Have I ever mentioned this name in my channel? Like, I talk about a lot of people here. I don't talk about Chris Christie. You know why? Because I just don't think about it. I don't think about the name. Not to be disrespectful, not to be rude, but from the political discussion, this is not a person that we think about.
And can anyone close the gap? Let's talk about what I guess we're up to 9 people after next week.
That's a good thing, isn't it? I think pretty good. But I don't think it matters. I don't know why people are doing it. They're at 1%. Some are at 0. I hear Chris Christie's coming in. He's at he was at 6% in New Jersey, which is, I love New Jersey, but 6% approval rating in New Jersey. What's the purpose? And he's polling at 0. And others are, I call him Ada Hutchinson. I don't call him Asa. I call him Ada Hutchinson. I gave him a little name for some reason, for certain reasons. But this guy, nobody knows who the hell he is. Never good.
I don't know. I don't know who he is. I don't know where he came from. Maybe, I don't know, some rich politician somewhere's been working underground and decided to rise to the surface and to get into politics. We don't know. Just like Barack Obama. Most of us didn't know who he was. Right? And he just showed up and boom. But maybe he's one of those guys. Who knows? Could be the next president. I don't think so.
And some, you know, it's fine, but I don't understand what they're doing. Now, maybe there's something wrong, but when you're at 1% or less, you know, 1%, it says 1% with an arrow pointing left. There's one guy who's at 0 with an arrow pointing left. That means he's at less than 0. So
he's below 0. He's extremely cold.
It is what it is. You know, I really go after the one who's second, and I think the one who's second is going down so much and so rapidly that I don't think he's going to be second that much longer. I think he's going to be third or fourth.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very bad day today. He got very angry at the press. You're not allowed to get angry at the press. Let me. At the fake news, he got angry.
Talking about Ron.
You probably became in history the most investigated president of all time.
Times 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but if my poll numbers went down, it would all end.
See, the thing is, they have made me love him. The more they went after him, the more they investigated, the more they dig for dirt, the more like people like myself who were in the middle, apolitical, who didn't really care much about politics nor any candidate whatsoever. We said something's wrong with that. Maybe I should pay attention. You know, you have to be careful how you make a martyr out of someone, because you end up harboring sympathy for them, and other people start to fall in line and make decisions with them. That's why it's best you leave them alone. Let them fade in the background. But they couldn't do that. They had to go after Trump. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. And now people are voting for him like crazy. You turn him into a superhero.
You know, every time my poll goes up, I say, oh, this is a problem. But we had a poll today that showed I was 44 points above number 2 and beating Biden by 11 points. Beating Biden by 11 points and beating Biden by 15 and 16 points in some of them. And he's not doing well against Biden.
Let me ask you, because you are...
Because we can't take a chance of this election.
I think a lot of people agree with that. I don't think things have been as bad, turned so badly so quickly. The third issue is there's a special counsel that's appointed, and news broke yesterday that there might be a tape recording that, quote, where you acknowledge that you understood that these were classified documents. First of all, do you know who this call may be with? Do you know anything about it?
No, I don't know anything about it. All I know is this. Everything I did was right. We have the Presidential Records Act, which I abided by 100%. Biden has 1,850 boxes with a lot of classified stuff that he's not supposed to have in his case. I have the right to declassify as president. He's got 1,850 boxes that he doesn't want anyone to see. He had 7 or 8 boxes in Chinatown in Washington, D.C., where nobody even speaks English in Chinatown. Chinatown is it's in favor of China. And he has boxes in Chinatown. They took those boxes and they sent them to Boston to his lawyer so his lawyer could look through them and probably do things that you're not supposed to do.
Redacted, modified, who knows?
In fact, I have to tell you, Dershowitz and a couple of very good guys wrote an article today. The Tobacco King, you know who the Tobacco King, he did a great job on the tobacco companies. They wrote an article today that this is a disgrace that they're even looking at this stuff. There was nothing done wrong, nothing whatsoever. Now look at the boxes with Biden, where they're in his garage, they're all over the floor, they're sitting under his Corvette with the grease and everything else, on a garage door that you could cut with a scissor, and no Secret Service. I have Secret Service all over the place. Mar-a-Lago is a fort. It's literally, you know, she built that as the Southern White House. But when you look at it, and it's another... it's a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. It's a hoax. And it has to do...
It is.
It has to do...
It is.
More than anything else with trying to interfere with the election. And let me tell you, DOJ actually took... You talk about Bragg, the DA of New York. I never thought I'd be dealing with a guy like this. You talk about Bragg. The DOJ in Washington put his top guy into the DA's office, which is local, which is city, state. But they put the top guy in the Justice Department into that office to make sure Trump gets in trouble. Can you believe it? It's never, ever happened before. And then Hillary Clinton's lawyer from, I guess it's Paul Weiss, left Paul Weiss to work in the prosecutor's office because he hates Trump. And
That tells you, though, there must have been something about Trump that these people knew and they were afraid of, and that's why they had to get him. Orange man bad, by any means necessary. And it tells me then, if they hate him this bad, there must be something that he's doing that is good. When the establishment hates you, it is because what you're doing challenge either the foundation of the establishment. Because the ones that they support, you have to understand, there's a lot of self-interest going on in these moneyed men. The people that they support are the people that are doing their bidding. The ones that they cannot control, who do not need their support, are people that they have an issue with. It's a very simple concept. This is why you can get behind Trump, because Trump is pushing against a system that is not, does not have our best interests at heart. You can simply back him up. He is really standing in their way. They want to come get you and I, but he really standing in the way. That's why you see all this strange stuff all over the place. It's the same system. All these so-called climate change doctrine, that's the same system. The same system that's going after our money. Inflation rises, gas prices, this and that's that system that he's fighting against. And that system can stand him. Therefore, he must be in the right from my perspective. That's the way I look at it.
He wants to get Trump. And then nobody wanted to do anything because they say, you know, Trump didn't do anything wrong, including Bragg originally said Trump didn't do anything wrong. And then he prosecutes for what he said was not wrong. But they took this guy, and they put him in there, and he left the firm, and he went in. It's a big, Pomerantz, Mark Pomerantz, and he left to become a prosecutor. He was a Democrat lawyer, and now he's trying to prosecute me. And then what happened is they wouldn't do what he wanted to do because it was too bad even for them. So this guy left, and he writes a book during the process. They tell me what he did is criminal. They tell me. Now, let's see what happens. But he's in a lot of trouble. So here's a prosecutor left, and he wrote a book during the prosecution. But I've been going through this for 7 years. Russia, all of it. The Mueller report, which was no collusion. After 2.5 years, there was no collusion with Russia. I was the worst thing. Putin would say, they say you like me. He said, you are the worst guy that we've ever had to deal with. I'm the one that stopped the pipeline, the big pipeline going up to Germany. I stopped it. When Biden came in, it's called Nord Stream 2. When Nord Stream 2, nobody ever heard of it until I came along. I said, you're allowing Russia to build a pipeline through Europe? I stopped it. It was stopped dead. And then the election came about, and Biden came in. One of the first things he did was allow Russia to complete the pipeline. I had it stopped. And then they say, I'll tell you what, they're a party of disinformation. They'll say Trump is soft on Russia. I'm the hardest on Russia that there's ever been. The sanctions we did, everything else. And I got along with Putin.
Let me follow up.
It's true. It's true. I wonder if there would even be a war in Ukraine right now if Trump was still president. I mean, we're stretching the facts. We don't know for certain. But it looks like where there is strength and power, there's control and respect.
And by the way, the hardest on China by a factor. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And as I said, no other president ever took in 10 cents. And you know what? China respected us. And President Xi respected your president. And he didn't want to have any more tariffs. And he didn't want to have any more sanctions. But he respected us. And now he doesn't respect. They don't even return phone calls.
Abortion now is back as a real campaign.
I love how he likes to expose what's going on because the news oftentimes is lying. So when he gets to speak, he tells stories. He explains stuff. He's exposing stuff. He's painting a different color. I think that's so significant to do because oftentimes when you watch these news, I heard CNN was talking about Donald Trump's pulled, and there were tapes and stuff like. And I'm like, you talking about a pool that supposedly either overflowed? I'm like, you are just sad. You are sad. You want some attention.
Issue. And then issues I didn't think when I started my radio career in 1987 I'd be talking a lot about, but education, kids, gender identity classes,
Oh boy.
CRT. I never thought we'd really have this deep debate about whether or not biological men could be playing in women's sports. When
So crazy.
On all of these issues, what is the best way that you see to settle?
Well, I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade. And by doing that, it put pro-lifers in a very strong negotiating position. Now they're negotiating different things. And, I happen to be of the Ronald Reagan school in terms of exemptions where you have the life of the mother, rape, and incest.
And he's giving that as a good example because he did overturn Roe v. Wade. He put enough, justices in the Supreme Court, which were conservative justice, to change the law, give it back to the states. All right. The country had no business pushing this thing. And that was a huge move. And that is an example of if he could do it with that situation, it is also possible that he could do with all this trans ideology that we got going on today. It's possible.
Best mother's life.
So you have that, and I think, for me, that's something that works very well, and for probably 80, 85%. Because don't forget, we do have to win elections, but I did something that nobody could do, and I also made them the radicals because they are willing and able to kill babies in the 9th month. They're willing to kill babies. That's radical.
That's the thing about Trump. He either pushes you to one extreme or the other. But I'm talking about, he pushes the people that are unbalanced either to one extreme or the other. There's a way he said it. He literally can drive some people crazy. And the reason that is because they're in balance. If you're balanced, Trump's it's not a problem. But if you're not balanced, he will twirl you all over the place. They've gone to the other extreme, which shows that initially their initial thought, their primitive thoughts were evil. That's where they wanted to go. Trump is the type that will make you expose yourself. And he goes after you in such a way that you can no longer cover up. That's why you see the media. The media has gone crazy. The media has gone so crazy since Trump became president. The ones that are sane remain sane. But the ones that were already crazy, thinking crazy, he just pushes them to the other extreme. It's just like, it's amazing watching that. Like TYT and some of these guys, some of the young Turks people, it's like they anti-Trump syndrome, anti-derangement Trump syndrome, what do you call it? Anyway, it's a real thing. It's crazy.
Life isn't radical. They've made pro-life radical, the other side. Pro-life is
True.
not radical. What's radical is killing a baby in the 8th month, the 7th month, the 9th month, or even the babies after the baby's born. And
Facts.
And, you know, unfortunately, we have a lot of politicians, and you saw that in the midterms. I think it was a big factor, that didn't really know how to talk about what we did with Roe v. Wade and what we did on pro-life. They didn't know how to talk about it. And it energized the Democrats, and they used that. I mean, they used that as a commercial. You wouldn't believe it.
Well, what should the
But
Republican
especially when you didn't have
position
the
be?
exceptions. When you didn't have the exceptions, they went after the people like viciously, the ads. And those people did
That's
not,
true.
generally speaking, they didn't do very well in terms of election. But when you have the exceptions and you go through the whole gamut, it's something that's an incredible thing. But one thing it really did, though, Sean, is it gave people that are pro-life a great power to negotiate.
Yep.
We had no power to negotiate because
Huge.
you had Roe v. Wade sitting in there where you could do anything, where the other side could do anything.
Yeah.
They can't do that right
Yeah, because they will kind of appeal to the law. This is the Constitution. This is America. This is the law. Da 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 da. And you can like argue. So the law needed to be changed. Not really changed, but at least send them back to the states. Let each state decide for themselves whether or not you're gonna kill babies. That's up to you. Victory for babies. Lost for pro-choicers. Lost for Planned Parenthood. Lost for irresponsible mothers and fathers. But victory for babies. Praise God. But at least now pro-lifers have their voice back. They can really advocate. They can really speak and turn up the heat and change things around. This stuff is diabolical. This stuff is evil. And thank God that what Trump did. Trump really did do it. Give him some godly credit and some serious respect for that.
now. So we're in a great position to negotiate something really, really good. And most people, I think, really respect what we did. Now, I will say every once in a while I watch somebody say, I did more for abortion and abortion rights and pro-life. I did more than Trump. Well, only stupid people would say that because everyone said there was no way that Roe v. Wade was going to disappear. But because it was very unfair. The other thing is people wanted to bring it back to the states. I consider that less important, but nevertheless, a lot of people wanted to bring it back. This brings it back to the states.
More with Donald Trump, and we'll hear from our...
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
This was great. I really enjoyed the discussion. I mean, he is just so on point, man. I don't know, man. I'm when you listen to Trump without being biased, without some political lens, without you judging character, without you filtering him through the media statements, without you using the past to filter everything he says, like he just makes sense. He just makes a lot of sense. He makes more sense than most politicians that I'm listening to today. It's just that I just wish people will actually take time to listen to what he's saying and listen from a perspective of an American perspective. Listen with the notion, is what he's saying making sense? Is it true? Is it reliable? Can it be affirmed? If you ask him these basic questions And you don't have to look for perfection in a man. There's no such thing. But at least look at the decency, the reality, the heart, the understanding, the vision. You can see that the man means business. Like, it took me a while to do this. For the most part, when I listen to someone and I listen attentively and I do some research, it doesn't take much for me to say thumbs up. And I'm one of those guys who will give you thumb down too when I find otherwise. But for my research of Trump, he's the man. He's the man. He simply is, man. Here, let me share this with you and bring this video to a close. Look at this. This is 1 Peter chapter 2. Look at verse. Let's look at verse 17. Honor all men. This is political. Love the brotherhood. So respect all men. Don't get wrapped up in this divisive Republican Democrats. I try to avoid that, because people are people. I see people for being human, not because they're associated with a party. Period. Even when a religious standpoint too, I don't do that. Love the brotherhood. Fear God. Honor the king. Should we say honor the president? You know he's number 47, right? I have a t-shirt coming up. Guys, go to my merch. All right. I got a merch that I'm working on. I went with Spreadshop because Teespring wasn't really doing it for me. So I'm working on a number of merch. Support the channel. I'm getting demonetized. YouTube is not really nice to people like me. Okay, so support the channel financially. All right. You saying, am I asking you for money? Yeah, I'm asking you for money. I'm asking that you support the work so that we can keep this thing coming. Okay? It doesn't work like that. I don't want to lie to you. All right. Don't overstretch. Don't do more than you can afford. I don't expect that. But we need help over here to keep this thing coming. You're getting at least 3-4 videos a day. I'm running 3 different YouTube channels. Full-time job, family, church, children, and school. Is it doable? Yes, it is, by the grace of God. But it's not easy. So keep me in your prayer. Keep Donald Trump in your prayer. God bless you. God bless America. We live in a great country. All right. We love the Lord and we love this country. Simple as that. God bless you. Have a good one. Bye.